was already first inaccurate move, allowing queen on the first rank with some queen f4, g4 ideas.
And I just saw a very nervous move by Wei Yi there. He made a move in his hand and he rubbed his trouser as he just, pardon me, please continue.
There's 2 inaccurate moves in a row from Wei Yi because of the time trouble. And now after king e6, which is a very strong move, king in the middle of the center, a wonderful piece. And after rook takes d7, queen in current position, can you guess the evaluation?
I'm thinking after queen f4 check, it might just be like...
Rook d1 is I wanted to go rook to d1 and win the knight.
It is -6.
Overwhelming.
Completely over, yes. And there's many moves. There's queen f4, there's rook d1, queen f1 with the idea of rook d1. And it's just amazing that black king on e6 is completely safe.
Queen f4 check, by the way, was played in the game. King went back, and Magnus is winning my heart. He just played the move queen takes f2, clipping a pawn and saying, excuse me, the moment I play rook d2 or rook d1, I've got you in 3 seconds.
Queen b6, offering a trade of queens, but this is one that Magnus must decline.
Well,
G3?
Unless Magnus plays g3.
G3. You want to trade queens, okay, but let's do it on my terms. I like the move g3. I like the move g3 a lot.
Yeah, Magnus took slightly worse position and just completely outplayed Wei Yi.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I think it's the time pressure. Wei Yi spent a bit too much time maybe figuring out how to increase his advantage, and instead ended up being in so much pressure that inaccuracies followed, and now he's completely lost.
Still, I'm seeing a little perturbedness going on there with Magnus. He kind of shook his head like something went wrong. Like, I mean, queen b6.
I think he's just choosing to... He's deciding, should I keep the queens on the board or not? And either way, he's completely winning.
Okay. In terms of declining queen, would you play the move queen c2?
Yes.
Queen c2, yes. Just hitting the pawn on e4, prepping rook to d1, not worrying about the passed a pawn.
Indeed, queen c2 is the best move if we want to keep the queens on the board. If not, you can take on b6 and follow up with rook a7 and just pick up white's weak pawns.
That's smart.
And if not, you can also play g3. That's the engine's top choice. It keeps the attack. And queen on f2, so rook d1 is a very unpleasant threat.
Yeah, you have to go like rook b2.
Let's take a look. After rook b2, rook d2 is also very strong because you can't trade rooks. Queen will be hanging. And right now I'm threatening the rook, I'm threatening checkmate. So you have to trade queens, but I'm getting another queen once you take my rook.
Yeah. Oh, this g3 is just
g3.
Fantastic.
And by the way, g3 on the board.
Did he play it already?
Yes, he
has
did.
Played it, yeah.
He's just played the move g3. 5 seconds, 12 seconds, sorry.
He puts his rook on b1.
Hold on, he gets the
gets
bonus.
10-second bonus.
So he played the move with 3 seconds on the clock. Rook d2, we can trade queens because now we have covered the first rank. So rook d2, queen takes f2 is not the killer anymore. G takes, I do have knight f3. Still looks very, very good for black, don't get me wrong, rook a2. But I'm looking for a killer. Help me out here.
After rook b1?
Yes, jump in, both of you. What do you like?
Queen c2 is
queen c2?
I quite like queen c2 or...
Queen c2, I like queen c2.
Queen
Tickle
c2
the rook.
Good.
Rook d4 is also something that...
Rook d4, that's nasty.
Also, because now we have pawn on g3, we can trade the queens and go rook d3, rook e3, because white knight can never improve. The first rank weakness is just too severe.
Yes.
Yeah, take, and then... Can you just go rook d1 and just argue?
That's a very strong argument.
Kicking the knight and not
you
getting out.
You can't move.
But, okay, so white has to go h4.
h4.
But then,
and rook a1.
and then rook b3.
So you pick up the g-pawn, but I think I
I
pick
think
up
you
a
pick
lot
up
of
everything else, right?
everything on the fourth rank. Ding, 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 ding. It's kind of, by the way,
Okay,
queen takes b6,
Okay.
rook to d1.
The players are doing exactly this. Rook d1 played, and now Wei Yi has to stop the black pawn from cementing itself on h4.
Exactly. You have to play h4. Everything else, it's just too...
6 seconds.
Two grows, 4 seconds.
Okay, this goes for
a5.
a5.
He's allowing this horrifying eternal pin after h5, h4. Or you might even want to toss in rook a1 just to be sure that you remember to put your rook behind your pass pawn.
Huge update in Gukesh's game. Now Norderberg completely winning. He's currently co-lead in the tournament and about to score another win because there's some big mistake here again in time trouble. Of course, Gukesh down to 22 seconds in this position when he played rook g6, a huge blunder because after h4, white forces trade of major pieces, and turns out this endgame is completely lost. I'm guessing it's because of the weak pawn on f4. White
You're just
king.
picking it up.
Right. We don't even have to bring the king out. It's just lost immediately. And as we know, knight endgames are similar to pawn endgames. So if you have an extra pawn in a knight endgame, it's completely winning. Yeah, this is the current position. Just bring the king over. You're also winning the h5 pawn.
Yeah.
I don't see any counterplay for black.
What a horrifying start for Gukesh.
Yeah, 2 big blunders in the first 2 games.
And in time pressure.
That's
the key
problem.
thing, right? Mm-hmm. And now they do say that knight and pawn endgames are just like king and pawn endings, and this pawn on e4, it's a protected passed pawn. And we see the clock ticking down for Gukesh.
And we could talk about some kind of fortresses, but it's impossible because we have pawns on both sides. h5 is very weak, so I don't see any way black could save this.
Big win for Gukesh, and I just want to say, pardon me, big blunder for Gukesh. 10 seconds for Wei Yi. h5, h4 on the board by Magnus, and oh, there you have it. And he's just played the move f5, did Magnus.
Mm-hmm. And there we see on the camera, we see Wei Yi, Magnus Carlsen, and he cemented that pawn on g3.
That was just huge, and for me, this is actually now like trivial because the e-pawn is in a sense unstoppable because the knight on g1 is stuck.
Do you know what's also really nice?
Yes.
If you get a knight on f2, that will be
That'd be
checkmate.
checkmate. Funny you should mention that because guess what? The knight is heading right there towards f2. Knight f4, knight d3, knight f2 is one way of getting there.
Knight c3.
I must say.
Knight f4 played.
Knight f4, knight e2.
And there's just no way that you can salvage the position with your king and knight in cage like that.
No, exactly. Those eternal pins are just horrifying.
He's gone.
A8 equals queen. The last.
Hey, hang on a second. Is there any salvation with, I was going to say, with a stalemate?
No.
No.
No. And by the
now
way,
the e-pawn is barreling down. Absolutely.
Because the pin has been lifted.
Well, he can try rook a1 here.
Rook a1. There's your stalemate. Please, take my rook.
But you can go knight to
d3.
d3.
Very nice.
Oh.
Not for you today.
No stalemates for you today. Oh, my. Okay, I'm just going to refresh my board. Apologies. And rook a2, e4, rook f1, rook 8, a2.
And we have a handshake. Magnus Carlsen wins in round 2 against Wei Yi with the black pieces.